Hi everyone! Today I am making my dairy-free chocolate chip cookies, and I've had people request this recipe from me before, so I thought why not make a video of it. And I do it differently than the recipe that I got off the internet, so why not just make a video and show you how I do it. So to make it dairy-free, I use the Baicel vegan margarine. If you make cookies before, you know that cookies usually use butter, and that's dairy, so obviously if you're dairy-free you can't have that. Use any kind of vegan margarine. It has no dairy in it, and it acts pretty much the same as butter in the recipe. And then for chocolate chips, you can find these in the specialty health food section. They are dairy-free chocolate chips. Usually they're gluten-free, all that stuff. They're fair trade. These ones are Camino fair trade, and they're semi-sweet. They also come in bittersweet, which tastes more like dark chocolate. These taste a little bit more like milk chocolate. They're sweeter. My family really likes these. They're very expensive, but the kids love them, and they usually end up eating what's left over from making the cookies. So, to get started, you need a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and recipe, 1/2 cup of white sugar. And into the bowl, you melt 1/2 cup of the margarine and you pour it in there. And then I just use a fork and I whisk it around, break up the brown sugar and whisk it around. Just let all the melted butter melt into the sugar. Okay, and then you need a teaspoon of vanilla. Right now I have the artificial stuff, but you know, the pure vanilla is better, obviously. And then you put 1 egg. And then you just whisk that around. And you know, normally when you're making cookies, you get out your hand beaters, and it does a really great job for you. But I find that with the fact that the margarine is melted, you don't really need to do that. Make sure you can see it properly. Okay. I just use a fork the whole time. I don't even get out the hand beater and dirty up another thing. Okay. So then you need your baking soda and your salt. This is 1/2 teaspoon baking soda and 1/4 teaspoon salt. I always put that in before the flour so it gets mixed up with everything properly. Okay, and then you need 2 cups of flour. So there's 1. 2. This recipe came from a blog called Pinch of Yum, and it's their, they say it's one of their best well-received recipes on the blog. And I've sort of played around with it for a while, to my liking. Okay, just sort of squish it around until everything's incorporated. So I'll leave the link to the original recipe. If you're not dairy-free, you can go and check that out, but I have changed a few things other than the dairy. Add more flour and less chocolate chips. I don't like the way chocolate chip cookies turn out when there's too many chocolate chips, so I add less. Okay, so now you need, I use about 1/3 of a cup of chocolate chips. So open the bag up. And then if I want more, if I think it needs more, I'll add more. Oops. Okay. So you just sort of incorporate those. Always add your chocolate chips last. Just turn out better that way. Okay. Sometimes I just need to use my hands. Okay. I'm going to add just a few more chocolate chips. And I'm going to get out my baking sheet and I'll show you how I make these into cookies from here. Okay, so I have my baking sheet out, and what I do now is I just take a tablespoon, regular one, not the baking kind, and I just form a cookie with it, sort of make a ball and then squish it down, and then put it on your baking tray. And what you'll find with these chocolate chips is they don't really want to stick into the dough. So you might find at the end you have a whole bunch of chocolate chips at the bottom of your bowl, and I will show you what I do in that case. Okay, so I have my cookies formed and I have a few chocolate chips at the bottom of the bowl. Usually there's even more of them than this. This time it worked out a lot better. But what I do is I take these out of the bowl and I stick them on top of the cookies, and they don't like to stick, but if you just leave them there when they cook, they will stay eventually. And then if you feel you need more on top, just to make them all look sort of the same, just add more from the chocolate chip bag. And what you want to do is preheat the oven to 350. And once they're in, set the kitchen timer for 9 minutes, 9 or 10 minutes, and take them out at exactly when it goes off. And they might not look done, but if you just let them sit on the counter and cool off, they will, they make a nice, soft, chewy cookie. If you leave them in the oven longer than that, they'll get crispy. So if you like soft cookies, take them out at exactly 9 or 10 minutes. Okay, I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to put these in the oven and I'll come back when they're done. Okay, here they are. They're all done. They're out of the oven. And what I do is I let them cool down for 5 minutes, and then just to make sure they don't stick to the pan when they're done cooling down, I take a spatula and I scrape the bottom of them, and I just leave them on the pan to cool down all the way, and then I put them into the cookie jar. They don't always make it to the cookie jar, but that's the intentions anyways. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you make some cookies. Let me know how they turned out for you, and I'll see you next time.